observe is we observe adaptation on the part of business schools in terms of the content of the topics. So we develop new programs that are focusing increasingly on issues of digital transformation, issues of organizational agility. We integrate these topics in our broader programs. So there's an obvious response in terms of what are the topics that we propose to executives. Keeping in mind that at IMD we are mostly active in the area of continuous education, meaning non-degree education. So people who are trying to continue to develop post-degree. But I think that more generally, I think that the key aspect that we all have to keep in mind is the fact that as the world is changing more and more rapidly, the major skill that we have to help individuals and executives develop is the ability to keep learning over time. And I think here it goes beyond specific topics that we teach today. It really is helping them develop a capability to keep educating themselves. In fact, not only a capability, but also a desire. So I think we often at IMD think about we want to help people become more willing and more able to continue to learn. And so some of the things that we need to talk about include curiosity. Too often we have been trained to look for answers as opposed to be interested by questions. So curiosity, I think, will be an important skill going forward. And obviously, when we say continuing to learn, there are two types of learning that people will have to go through. One is more technical learning about new technologies, new aspects of business. And here, technology will be a much greater part of the education process. So we will see people spending less time in our classrooms and more time educating themselves, quote unquote, online or in virtual settings. And this, of course, will also have an impact on what happens when they do come to see us. We will have less one-way transfer of knowledge, and we will have more conversations and discussions. So, again, more technology and a different sort of focus of the presence time, of the residential time. And then, beyond learning new ideas, new concepts, new frameworks, they will have to learn about themselves. And here, this is a really challenging aspect for executives. Executives are good usually at learning new stuff. The problem is they don't apply much of what they learn. So what we observe is the growth of what we call the knowing-doing gap. People know more and more, they just don't do much of it. And so, again, I think that, by the way, this should also be trained earlier in the curriculum. If looking back, I should have taught this to my kids when they were in elementary school. But I think that fundamentally we're talking about three things. One, we're talking about people becoming more aware of their functioning. What is their original cabling and their original experiences, their initial experiences, making them more prone to do. You have to understand how you were designed if you want to be able to manage this design and then evolve your capabilities over time. You cannot manage what you're not aware of. So awareness of self and others will be a critical skill. A second critical skill that we need to help people develop is mindfulness, meaning the ability to be present here and now. Because if you're not present here and now, the habit wins. And again, if you think of people being involved in a lifelong development effort to become a better version of themselves, then they have to learn to be able to identify the moment and to craft their behavior. For that, they have to learn to be present. And the third major skill in this respect is reflectiveness. We often say that people learn from experience. I have seen a lot of people who will repeat the same mistake over and over and over again. So what I think we also need to teach people is how to reflect on what's happening and on what they're observing, and how to draw more generalizable insights. So again, I think that what we will observe is we will observe obviously modification of the content of the programs that we offer and of the courses that we teach. which does not take away the importance of a liberal arts education and of having a minimum amount of understanding of what other people in the past have said, because that remains critical. But usually it's before they come to us. And then we will see more lifelong learning, in particular through technology, and then that will influence what we do when people are with us. It will be more discussion-based and less one-way transfer. And finally, again, we will see more emphasis on helping people to become good learners over time, and that will require them to have greater awareness, greater mindfulness, and greater reflectiveness.
Thank you, Jean-François. Just one question. It's a common sense, common knowledge that we are living in the era of the very high and complex technology. But on your point of view, what is the reasonable combination of hard skills and soft skills? And how do you manage this combination in your business school?
So, I'm not sure I'm managing much of anything in my business school. You know? Academic management is an oxymoron. When I say to my colleagues, let's do this, instead of saying yes, absolutely, they say why not that? But so, more seriously to your point, I think that the hard skills part, what you call the hard skills part, I think will continue to change over time. And again, we offer programs where we focus on some of that. Obviously, in the MBA program, there are some frameworks that you would expect an MBA to have and that we teach. But again, frankly, today, that's the easy part. Especially, again, with technology, now you're no longer dependent on me being on a good day in class, right? You can videotape me from 12 different angles and after 16 different takes. And I will find at some point a way to say this intelligently. So I think teaching what you call the hard skills, with some of these more quantitative topics, today is important, but frankly is I think, relatively easy, much easier than I think it used to be. What you call the soft skills part, of course, is again, from my point of view, the ability to continue to improve the way you function individually and in relation to others. Right? And that's where I was saying, for that, we need people to develop these three skills, right? Because if I want to improve, again, in my soft skills, if I want to improve in the way I interact with others, well, first I have to be aware of the way I function today. Right? Because if I'm not aware of the way I function today, there's no way I can design another behavior, right? So first I have to become aware. Ideally, I would also understand why I tend to function this way. And then I can try to improve. I can try to develop. I can try to become a better listener. I can try to become a little bit more or less assertive. I mean, there's lots of things that I can learn to do. But for that, I'm going to have to be, again, studying, yes, but then I'm going to have to be mindful of my behavior